Hey, what's up, guys? JC here. You already know what time it is. Subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know. Because I'm not editing these videos no more. This is pretty much, I'm coming in an hour early, 2 in the morning, recording, going in and working out, taking care of my clients, going home. But it's working, man. It's you guys and me. That's all, right? So yesterday, I went to the women's prison, and it happened again where there was a guard that was already letting me in. He was cool, giving my pass, blah blah blah. And then another guard steps in, looks at me, and come on, man. Like I'm from the streets. Like I know survival. I know how to read people's face. I know how to read their eyes. Like I had to learn that in prison to pretty much not die. You had to see guys coming from a mile away, or else you wouldn't make it in there. It's bad enough that you have to have eyes behind your head. But I seen in his eyes, and he sized me up. He looked me up and down, and I'm never rude. I'm never rude. I get mad when people try to do that to me because I'm not coming here to like start nothing, and like don't treat me like that because I'm not doing it. Anyways, he starts. They usually just give us the pass. We go in, take the bus. We don't get escorted or nothing. We go to the unit, do the classes, and leave because we're there from 12 to 4. Like, it's not a big deal. I've been going there for 3 months now. He steps in. He's like, "What? Who are you? What? Like, who? What?" Look at the paper. He's like, "Oh no, we don't do things like this here." And I already knew. I was like, and in that moment, my wife stepped in, and she was like, "No, you could call the warden." The warden, and he was like, "The warden, what? The warden." And when he said something, now he's talking to her, so I get a little bit more pissed. So I told the other guy. The other guy was being real nice. He was already giving me the pass and everything. I told the other guy, give him my ID, bro. So he gives me my ID. I start walking out, and I forgot the books because I had the books for the girls on top of the desk. I forgot them, and he points at me and tells me to go like this, like this. Oh man, and that's like one of my biggest pet peeves, man. When a man does like that to me, like, oh, you don't even know. To me, that's like disrespectful, and we're fighting. Because no man should talk to another man like that. You know what I mean? So I got a little bit more heated. I went in, grabbed the box, and the box was heavy, but I was so mad that I grabbed it and threw it on my shoulder and just walked out, pushed the door open, walked out, and got to the car. And I was gonna leave. I've left before. I've left like this has happened 4 times already. I was gonna leave, and my wife was like, "Nah, don't leave because like this is not the girl's fault. Like the girl's been waiting for the class, and don't let him ruin it for them because they need it, And she calmed me down. I got it. I understand. She's always been the voice of reason for me, and and that's what I said, guys. I'm not perfect either because sometimes people are so rude. They treat you a certain way, and I I have to learn to react different and better. I'm not disrespectful. I just walk out. I just say peace. I'll talk to you later. You know. So I left and I went to the parking lot. I called the warden on the phone, and I told him, I was like, "Hey, I'm not gonna do this no more. If every time I come, there's gonna be like a hit or miss where like I'm getting humiliated. Because that's the thing there. And the thing is that what they don't understand is that I grew up around CEOs. Like I did so much time in different prisons, different counties, different different worlds. So like I know a good CEO and a bad CEO. And there's lots of them. Don't get me wrong. I've met some really cool ass CEOs that like they understood that you know we had to do our thing and they had to do theirs, and as long as it wasn't out in the open and and we knew that they still had a job to do, there was a line like a respect, and then you had the RoboCop ones that uh, just wanna wanna be RoboCop. They love their job. They really love their job. They love doing shakedowns. Every prison has those guards. I mean, you can ask anybody. Even on the inmate side, you'll have inmates that drink coffee all day. You have inmates that watch TV all day. You have inmates that work out all day. They're all little cliques. Same thing with the guards. You'll get a guard that sits down. Once he gets there, he never gets up. Those are the days that you you just do whatever you want to do. And then you got the one that walks every 10 minutes. It's a different lifestyle in there. It's just and I don't understand why these CEOs let like why it gets to them, or why they have to be so like aggressive, or I don't know, or chip on their shoulders. Because I mean the the dude was like had an attitude problem, and I'm not gonna deal with. I'm a grown ass man. I'm not gonna deal with like little kids with attitude problems. So I ended up going in. Giving the class, and yeah, I just, you know, I would have never in a million years would have thought that I was going to be going back to prison to help inmates find jobs, or even teach them what I'm teaching them. I mean, you would have told me this even 5 years ago, I would have laughed in your face, because why would I want to go back to a place where the memories were not great? Like, I can't sit here and say, yeah, I can say, yeah, that place was good, the food was good, but all that comes with a price too. Like, you're in a place where there's business is happening, people are fighting, and even if you're not entangled in that stuff, like, you're still stressed out about it happening around you, because you feel the energy. It still stresses you out. Like I tell people all the time, there was a facility. There was a holdover facility, and I think it was in between Alabama or Atlanta before we went into Florida, but they had a little unit with like a lot of transfers, and I guess they weren't controlling like what was going through there. So like, I guess you could say like a lot of pedophiles, people that shouldn't be going through normal system were going through there. And as soon as you get there, you would feel like the tension in the air, and you would be eating, and all of a sudden you would hear somebody getting, the crap beaten out of them, or stabbed, and it was like every Tuesday when the new guys would get there, you kind of like start stressing out, because you knew it was gonna be something. And it was crazy because it was always like somebody coming on the bus that Tuesday that would recognize somebody there. It was always like that. They always think it's a big world in prison, and it's not. Like, sooner or later, people find where you're at. But yeah, stress, prison is prison. Even if it's made out of gold, it is still prison. That's why, like, I had to, like, almost teach myself and tell myself, you're not gonna go back this time. That's it. We're done with that part of our lives. Like, for me, because in my head, it was almost normal, I guess, to do like a bid every couple of years, or like, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it, because I kind of thought it was like, yeah, that's, you get caught. You know what I mean? It's almost like you. And I don't even know how to explain it, but obviously it had to do something with my maturity level, where you do stuff not thinking about the consequences, or you ride the edge of the cliff until you fall or get caught. You get what I'm saying? And that's how you're used to living, so that's how you live. So I had to learn to stop doing all that. Even, like I said, that insignificant left-hand turn that I couldn't do, just me changing that has showed me how much I've changed in many ways, and matured and grown. But yeah, I used to believe that I would be back doing some time. Fourth Avenue jail here is rough. That place is cold. You're hungry. That one only gets 1 star. And then if you're out on the tents outside for that work release program, it is freezing over here right now. Nah, I'm good. Nah, I told my wife yesterday, for the first time in my life, I know for sure I'm never going back to prison again. Like, I made it. Like, it was a crazy ride. Don't get me wrong, it was a crazy ride. One thing I have to say is that the time flew by, and like, that's why I try to stress to everybody. It's like, look, time goes. So, like, even if you just do a little bit today and a little bit tomorrow, at least, you're moving. But if you do nothing, you'll stay right there, trapped in that time. I always tell people, you think that I thought that I was gonna be doing videos for YouTube or be on TikTok or all this stuff? I would have never thought that. Just like I would have never thought that I would be helping people not be criminals instead of being criminals. Because that's what I was. I was teaching people how to be criminals back in the day. And I was, causing havoc on the neighborhood and the city. We were a danger. We were a danger. I was remembering when I was a freshman. When I was a freshman, I went to Morton East. It's in Cicero. It's like on Cermak and something, and the Tutu boys went there, mostly all Italian guys. The SDs went there, and the 2-6 were there. At that time, I was still, I guess you could say like a neutron. I was just kind of blending in with everybody and like not trying to get killed. So, and it was hard because going to that school where it was all folks, because back then Morton East was all folks, and um, Morton West was where all like people went, all 5 star, all the 12th Street players, all the Popes, just Kings, um, and that's how that high schools was split. But we lived. My parents lived by Roosevelt, like down the street from Austin, where it was a land count hood, and there was kings around the area, and bishops too in that time, and it was like dangerous for me every day to try and get home because they were always looking for me, and at that time, um, all the 2-6 were wearing Raider clothes because the letters say something, gang related. But they were all wearing Raiders, and they wear black and beige. And I got a Raiders jacket, so like, so those big heavy, football jackets, they were for the winter. Um, I got one, so every time I walked home, I had to be careful because they would jump out and like check you to see what you were. And man, bro, every time I would walk home, it was a mission. I got chased, I got shot at. It was like dangerous. Every day, every day. The counts were literally at a park on the corner all the time, and one of their leaders lived right across the street from the park, so they were always at the house or at the park. Um, and since this was like a suburb, you could call it like a suburb outside of Chicago. This is where Al Capone like ran everything. This is where like it's like the edges of the city, so it's a little bit, I don't want to say dirtier. It's just a little bit more ghetto than the city. The city's ghetto, but this is a little bit more ghetto. I don't know how to explain it. It's just there's a lot of bad stuff happening: gambling, prostitution. It's a fine line. A lot of bad stuff. So every day I went over there, it was crazy trying to get home, try to get to school. I mean, for a year, I was like trying to stay alive. They almost killed me like twice. Finally, I ended up moving back to 59, and that's when my sophomore year was when I turned an SD. And me, Malo, Shorty, Dean, Ghost, Chocolate. There was a lot of us. We all went to Gage Park that year. That was interesting. A lot of stories from there. Even from the first day of school. We went to school with guns. Like it was a school where it was kind of like mixed with kind of like everything. Kings, Ambrose, players, vice lords, GDs. It was like a straight gang school, so like it was tough, but we got into a lot of shootouts, a lot of fights. Then the war broke out with the Ambrose, and we got into it with them, and just it's crazy because like there was moments where there was like peace and everybody was cool and everybody was partying with everybody, and there was no drama, but then something always happens and it just kills everything. It just destroys everything. Everybody starts fighting. Right now, there's no gangs that are pretty much at peace in Chicago, and there's a lot of in-house war too, because it's all little cliques running with each other. So it's like it's very disorganized and just they're just on a whole different level now. But it was very different back then. I passed by 59 not too long ago. I didn't even recognize it. I didn't even recognize Tanti. Uh, I was trying to find, there was this Chinese restaurant, 59 and Kedzie, that we used to eat at and stand in front at the little plaza when we used to hang out. Got a lot of memories from 59, man. I moved there for the first time with my grandparents when I was in 7th grade. And this is before 59 actually turned into a gang neighborhood. Like, when I moved there, I want to say 89, it was all Polish people. Nicole, she was like my first white girlfriend. She lived in front. I had a neighbor that got me listening to like heavy metal and like that MTV stuff. It was all Polish people. It wasn't. You would see like one or two. Like it was me, Shorty. Shorty was Puerto Rican. He was in my 7th grade class, and his brother, and then Chocolate. Chocolate, he was already there. He was Mexican, but he lived further down past Sacramento, and that's where like mostly all the Mexicans lived at. But there wasn't too many Mexicans or Latinos or blacks in that school. It was all whites. We started, getting into a lot of trouble in that area, breaking into cars, stuff like that. We started, but that whole area started changing little by little. A lot of the people from 26th Street or from other bad areas in Chicago started moving into that whole area of 59th Street and 63rd, and there was already gangs that had been there for years, like the Ambros and the 2-6, the SDs. But then more gangs came, and I don't know. I think it's flooded over there with everything right now.